are present. Let's stand for the territory. Entendu que le Canada est fondé sur les principes qui reconnaissent la suprématie de Dieu et la primauté du droit, prenons un moment de réflexion personnelle.
We acknowledge that we are on the unceded territory of the Anishinaabe and traditional lands of the Haudenosaunee, Huron-Wendat, and Kanyen-Kahakas peoples. We acknowledge our shared obligation to respect, honor, and sustain these lands and the natural resources contained within.
Thank you.
Our home and native land, true patriot love in all of us command, car ton glace est porté les paix, il s'est porté la croix. Ton histoire est une épopée des plus brillants exploits. God keep our land glorious and free. Oh, Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Oh, Canada, we stand on guard for thee.
Alors, addition, deletions or amendments, I believe we are removing item 11A and the associated bylaw at number 16, which is 2025-105. C'est bien ça? Merci. So I need a motion. Any other changes, members of council? Councillor Deacon?
I'd like to add an item, if I could, under other business from council members,
Oh, yes.
18, relating
18A.
to public engagement.
I have it written down here, and I just forgot to speak to it. Apologies. Thank you. So we'll add that to 18A, Public Engagement Action Plan. Anything else, council members? All right, so I need a motion to approve the agenda as amended, and this is moved by Councillor Lawrence, seconded by Councillor Armstrong. Call for the vote. All in favor? And passed. Thank you, councillors. Item 6, disclosure of pecuniary interest. Seeing, hearing none. Moving to item 7, adoption of the minutes. A motion to approve the minutes from the regular council meeting on August 25th, 2025. This is moved by Councillor Lalonde, seconded by Councillor Deacon. Call for the vote. All in favor? And passed. Thank you. Numéro 8, présentation, on n'en a pas. Numéro 9, délégation, pétition, on n'en a pas. Item number 10. All items listed under the consent items will be enacted by one motion. A majority vote is required for the adoption of the consent items. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless a request is made prior to the time council votes on this motion that a consent item is to be separated from the motion. That separated item shall then be considered immediately thereafter. So motion that all items listed under consent items be received as presented, and this is moved by Councillor Lawrence, seconded by Councillor Deacon. Thank you. I'll call for the vote. All in favor? And passed. Thank you, councillors. Moving to item 11. So we did remove 11A. We are moving to 11B. Zoning bylaw amendment report PD 2025-30, property known as 241 La Belle Street, Lot 3-6 on Plan 50 M-375, known as 591317 Academy Street. Quelque chose à rajouter là-dessus, M. Bourgon? Non? Questions, commentaires, membres du conseil? N'en voyant pas, on continue. Merci. On va à l'item C. Authorization to execute a subdivision agreement report PD 2025-36, property owned by 5026541 Ontario, Inc. for Phase 2 of the Cornerstone subdivision and the Corporation of the Township of Russell for a parcel of land legally described as Concession 3, part of Lot 13, Village of Russell. Anything to add, M. Bourgon? Merci. Questions, commentaires, membres du conseil? No, and so this is, I believe, 19 singles, 38 townhomes, for a total of 57 units. All right, no questions. We move to item D. Implementation of an administrative monetary penalty system, AMPS, report PIC 2025-15A. Anything to add, Monsieur Dagenet, Madame Bourdeau?
Yes, this is just a follow-up from the initial report of June 9th. This report addressed the council concerns at that time, so I don't know if there's any question arising from that report.
Excellent. Merci beaucoup, Madame Bordeaux. Questions, commentaires, membres du conseil. Conseiller Armstrong?
Yeah, I have to confess that I've read the report, I've read the bylaws, and as well as the Municipal Act and the Regulation 333/07. And I'm confused. Starting off with the Municipal Act, there are two sections, 102.1, that allows for administrative monetary penalties, only in relation to parking, stopping, and standing. Further, much further in the Act, at 434.1, there are other possibilities for administrative monetary penalties. The key is the regulatory regimes behind each of those sections are very different. Okay? There are some things that are the same. Of the things that are the same, for example, the penalty shall not be punitive in nature, and they do not exceed the amount reasonably required to promote compliance. And as I read them, we're supposed to have some sort of an analysis that shows these are the penalties that are in fact what meet those two conditions. And I don't see that in the report. At least it's not coming out to me. If somebody else sees it in there, please speak up. The idea behind that, I think, is it's not supposed to be a new revenue stream. It's
Sorry, Councilor.
okay. It's not supposed to be a new revenue stream. Okay.
Well, I think if there is efficiencies, it may create additional revenue, but not necessarily a new revenue stream. And I'm going to ask for clarification on that.
Okay. Carrying on, some of the things that I also saw was about enforcement of the administrative monetary penalties. This is one of the places where the two are very different. 102.1, that's for the parking, etc. It provides for an enforcement through a plate denial system, whereas there is no regulation with details of how to enforce the system in 434.1, all of the others. It does, though, have some enforcement capabilities built into it, but not a great deal. The big thing is if it is one person and that person owns property, then you can put add the amount due plus the administrative fees on the tax bill. But there's a condition on that, and that condition was the individual who was responsible for the contravention has to be identical to the one that owns the property. So for example, if it's something against me, my house is owned jointly between myself and my wife, therefore there's no consequences that can be, no tax lien on my house for that, because it's jointly owned and my wife is not accountable for a contravention. Another thing that I note that's different is for the parking and enforcement, the parking one, there's no charges associated with the screening and the review, whereas they can be imposed on the other ones. At least there's no restriction against them in the act. But in the contrary, the parking one, the decision of the screening officer is final, but in 434.1, there's no such restriction. So that can go much higher. And then the other thing, of course, is in 434.1, somebody can argue legality or constitutionality on those bylaws, but not on the parking one. Anyway, I don't see those differences reflected in the bylaw itself. All I see is it jumbled. And as it stands right there, I can't support the bylaw.
Thank you, Councillor. I'll give you just a second. Madame Bourdeau, are you able to answer some of the points that were raised, namely the new revenue stream, the joint owned homes, how that would work? And I believe there were the constitutionality aspect. I don't know that we might need to get some more information on that, but are you able to answer some of those, Madame Bourdeau?
To address the revenue stream, for example, fines were, most of the fines, the first offense is pretty much the same or comparable to the fines that were approved by the Solicitor General, the Attorney General's office. They're before the previous way of proceeding, you have to get all your fines approved. So all our fines were approved. Some of them were increased. For example, some of the parking fines were increased by $10. The last time we had reviewed those fines was 2004. So we increased those by $10. So instead of being 35, they're 45. So most of our fines are very similar or the same as what was approved by the Solicitor General. The difference is that now they allow for a second and third offense. So I don't know how that would be a revenue stream as it's offense related.
No, but I think what Councillor Armstrong, and correct me if I'm wrong, Councillor Armstrong, is alluding to is the fact that we are going to be getting a better share of the revenue, correct? There is less administrative, like by the time we actually get revenue from the tickets, we will be collecting them as opposed to going at the county level. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah, so that increase in revenue. So it's still the same amounts, more or less, with that except for that increase, but it's just how it's being administered. So more of it comes to here than not. Councillor Armstrong?
I see that both two ways. An increase in revenue could be looked at as an additional revenue stream. On the other hand, the administrative processes that go with it may in fact see us with a diminished revenue stream in the way that some of our offenses cannot be collected. They would still be sent to collections for many of those offenses. And I don't see where we will have any greater success than the United Counties for things that go to collections. And I will admit, one thing I did look at in the counties, because it comes up to counties council every year, I looked at the counties' reports on it. There is a very low success rate.
Yeah.
So I don't know how to look at.
But so
that
the
either
revenue
way.
stream, we can agree that it's not, it's just through a different administrative process that there is a potential for it to be higher on this end. But it's not because we are going to charge more somewhere else. We can agree on that, correct? I think that makes sense. It's from an administration perspective, correct, Madame Bourdeau?
Yes.
Okay. The other point that Councillor Armstrong raised is the joint ownership on homes if we want to impose or collect any fees related to that. Do you have additional insight on that for council?
We would have to go through a collection agency,
So we could not collect,
same as the court does.
okay, so, but we can't put it on a tax bill is my point.
If there are,
If there's two owners and it's only one person, one proponent. Unless the charge, just a second, unless the charge is related to something specific to the property, is that correct?
I would assume so, yes. Monsieur Laplante, maybe you
Ouais,
can
Monsieur
give
Laplante?
more,
Clarification?
No, you're correct. So if it's property related because both are joint owners, then it would go against property taxation. But if it's an offense that's only one of the two owners is implicated, then we can't. It would have to go through collection agency.
Okay. Okay. Anything to add, Monsieur Dagenet, in terms of the financial piece without putting you on the spot there?
Well, I think we summed it all up. For me, when I look at this, I don't see this as a new revenue stream. I just see that we're gonna bring efficiencies, we'll do it ourselves. And yeah, maybe the successful rate when we go in collection is not great, but at least what's not going to collection will come back to us at 100%.
Better share, yeah.
Instead of coming back to us at 2-3%.
Okay. Okay. The last piece that Councillor Armstrong brought up as the legality and constitutionality. I don't venture to know anything around that or enough about that to make any comments. Anything that we can add to that for council in terms of understanding that it meets the requirements?
I'm not sure I can comment because I'm not sure I understand where we're going with
Okay.
this. If it meets the requirements of the law, yes, it meets the requirements of the law, but
And this is not a one-off. There are many municipalities doing that. Now, we know that that doesn't mean anything either. And so I'm just for context purposes.
Okay, so the way our bylaws was written was that pretty much everybody in the province is using the same template. We did not reinvent the wheel in drafting this bylaw. We took a model that was already in place, existent, and already working. If it was challenged or not, sorry, I should say, it was not challenged through the courts yet. This is a new process that the appeal through, it goes from screening to hearing, then Superior Court if there's a need. But as far as we could tell from the conversation that we had with different cities and township, it was not tested in court as for constitutional purposes.
Okay. Anything to add on that, Councillor Armstrong?
Yeah, just what I was looking at. Remember, Regulation 333/07 specifically says it only applies to 102.1, the parking, standing, stopping rules. And then it goes further and it says, 11 subsection 3 says, neither a screening officer nor a hearing officer has jurisdiction to consider questions relating to the validity of a statute, regulation, or bylaw, or the constitutional applicability or operability of any statute, regulation, or bylaw. That's fine, but that doesn't apply to the 434.1 cases. And if I could say anything to improve the bylaw, I would separate it, one for the parking, stopping, and standing, which comes out of the Act 102.1, and another separate bylaw that comes out of 434.1, because there are some significant differences. Other than that, I would only recommend that we have bylaw part 1 and bylaw part 2, which separates the two different regimes.
Okay, I'm going to venture to say that, that council are not experts on constitutional law. I certainly am not, and so I feel a little bit uncomfortable moving forward myself, this is my opinion, knowing that we have some concerns from Councillor Armstrong that need to be validated and understood. So I feel as though before we move into signing a bylaw on this, that we should have our, make sure that we fully understand that. Just to get a pulse from the rest of council on this. Any thoughts from Conseiller Lalonde?
Yeah, I think I would support the idea of maybe getting that clarified. I mean, if we left the bylaw the way it was written now, I guess it's being suggested that it is in conflict as it is written already, because there's not much I see being changed here, and I certainly don't agree with the earlier notion of it being a new revenue stream. This is a gain in efficiency, which is going to streamline or redirect the application of the bylaw so that we keep more of the money that we're charging. But at the level of the Constitution or the constitutionality of it, I mean, I guess we could check that, but we've been operating with a bylaw that recognizes those two streams all along. Anyway, I'll leave it at that.
Merci. Any other comments, members of council? Councillor Lauren.
To me, this is a program that's going on in many municipalities. It's not new to the standpoint of the fact that it's being utilized, and it makes it more efficient to move cases through. It streamlines a process that is extremely broken today at least in Ontario, where it's taken up lots of time, man hours, court hours, where a lot of these could be resolved in another matter using this process. So I'm fully support the process, and I think that it makes a lot of sense. In terms of, revenue, well, I mean, ultimately any additional money than we get today becomes a new revenue or an increased revenue for that program. Is it a new revenue stream? No, the stream is already there. We have a revenue stream that's there. This just means we have the potential to increase that revenue stream that is already there, not a new one. The one question I have is the collection process that we're talking about. Does that mean we will now entertain that collection process internally rather than go partnered with the United Counties?
That's correct.
Yes,
Madam
we
Bolden?
will collect ourselves.
Okay.
So we have a process that we have to follow, and
But once you cannot collect it and it has to go for
collection.
external collections, I'm going to share that I would have extreme doubt that we would be successful in recovering significant dollars under that program because of our size and scalability when it comes to a collection agency. That's the problem we have today with the United Counties process, because it's such a small amount of files that would go out. I would definitely look to sit down and have a discussion with your department on it. Given my background in the collection world, I think it would be extremely helpful for that process. You know, I think we could definitely work on getting some additional funds from that perspective on the collection side, where we were not necessarily successful in the past. So I think we need to be smart about that and how we do it. And again, I have expertise in that, so I can definitely help out if that's something you want. I'm there to help.
Thank you, Councillor Lauren. I believe that process is third party, and it's based on a percentage that they recover. They're paid on recovery, I guess. Monsieur Dagenet? Or-
Yes, and right now at the county level.
That's what they do,
Their success rate is really low. Like
which is, I
they
think,
have over 6 million right now in collection.
yeah.
And so they have 8 million in unpaid receivable, and 6 million of that 8 million. So 75% is already in collection, and they recovered 125,000 last year, so.
But I think the
And
point
success rate is low, but
The-
we'll do-
The point I just want to make sure I understand is that at the end of the day, whether the counties are collecting or whether we're collecting, it's not adding a cost to us to do the collections. The benefit is it's just on the amount that is paid and or eventually collected. And so the success rate is almost, it doesn't really matter. Councillor Lauren?
And the fact is, those fines actually are 100% recoverable from a fee perspective. So you don't settle those transactions; they have to be paid 100% plus the fee that the agency charges to collect it. So, from a cost perspective, it's cost neutral to go outsource. So that percentage you're paying to the agency to collect is actually being paid by the person who was fined. So that's a big part of that process. So, but again, size and scale, you talk $6 million in recovery. That's not a big portfolio, which again accounts for, I think I've said this many times, Mayor Bouldeau sat here for many years listening to me spout that off, but it's not big in size and scale. And until you do things different, you don't get any different results. And I think that's unfortunately at the county where they haven't made any changes. They work on a spreadsheet, and their communication and effective holding the feet to the fire, if you will, of the agencies isn't there. So we would definitely want to make sure we have some sort of a process in place, or partnering with another municipality that has size and scale, entering into their RFPs and their process to upload the files. Then you get the collectability of the files to increase. So,
Thank you. Councillor Deakin.
Thank you. I just want to add the comment in terms of the revenue. I wouldn't see this as a new revenue stream, but as was said before, I think that this is just changing revenues or finding efficiency. The Councillor Armstrong mentioned constitutionality. I don't think we're specifically making reference to the Constitution, but in particular the Municipal Act, and making sure that this bylaw would adhere to the Municipal Act. Can I get clarification, or is there actually a constitutional level involved?
Okay.
Councillor Armstrong?
Yeah, the question is not the actual bylaw itself. The question is, if it's a parking, stopping, or standing, and somebody says, I don't think that's constitutional, they can't bring it up. If it is another bylaw, something with Parks and Rec, okay, and they said, I don't think that's constitutional, what is that, according to the Municipal Act, is something that can be considered by a screening or a hearing officer. The bylaw itself says, it's
Right.
blanket, that the screening officer will not hear a constitutional argument. So the constitutional argument would be based on, we had the Integrity Commissioner report, and they talked about a Dore-Loyola analysis. That would be the analysis that the screening officer would have to go through if a constitutional argument is brought up about the infraction, not about the bylaw itself.
Yes,
But-
I understand that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Councillor Deegan?
Just through you, Mr. Mayor, I want to say that I think that this is related, that's specifically related to the municipal act, that we're talking about the legality behind bylaws that are written and then looking to be enforced by through the ticketing and administrative monetary policy. I did have a question for administration in terms of my understanding that there are many municipalities across Ontario rolling this out. I'd like to know if this is if we're looking at a model or a template, I believe it was referred to as, from something like the Association of Municipalities of Ontario, or was this more along the lines of, well, one municipality went first and everybody followed what they had come up with? Because I think that it makes a big difference knowing if this was a coordinated, well-informed, province-wide process reviewed by many municipalities at the same time, or, as I said, sort of a domino effect for coming up with this. And maybe we don't need the answer to that tonight. I certainly don't need to push this forward without having that good information.
Yeah, Monsieur Laplante, are you able to answer that?
So the template I was referring to is not something that came out of an association. It's just a bylaw that I believe came out of the Toronto area, and everybody else that came on board afterward just copied off, since they had their legal team reviewing their bylaws. So afterwards, everybody else copied off of it, but it did not come out of an
From the
association.
association. Okay. Thank you. Councillor Deegan, follow up?
If I may, just one more time, I don't have any issue with different municipalities sharing best practices, templates, but I do want to know that our administration has done due diligence as well to take what is the best of that model and ensure that it fits for our purposes and our approach. So I'm not sure, again, I'm not sure if that's a question that could be answered tonight, but I would like to hear more.
Madame Bourdeau, do you care to comment on that tonight, or?
Well, I can comment that, no, we don't get all our bylaws vetted by a legal team. That's why we tend to seek bylaws from cities who do have legal teams that vet their bylaws. To vet bylaws legally, it becomes quite expensive. And that's basically the reason why we don't. I do, when we do draft bylaws, I do look at different options, if there are different options, and what applies to us and what does not. But no, this bylaw is practically the same throughout the province. But I'm sure cities have had their legal teams look at it, who have legal on staff, but we don't. I may add for the question of the, so the bylaw states that the hearing officer has no authority to consider questions relating to the validity of a statute, regulation, or bylaw, or the constitutional applicability or operability of any statute, regulation, or bylaw. So our bylaws are still in place. So if somebody wants to contest the constitution of the bylaw, then the bylaw is still there. We didn't.
We're not changing the bylaw. It's
No.
just the enforceability of the educator. Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay. Any other questions on this? Comments? Okay. So we've had a good chat on it. We'll move forward to item E. All right. Item E, entente de sauvetage spécialisée avec la Ville d'Ottawa et la municipalité de Castleman, rapport FIRE 2025-05. Que le Conseil reçoive le rapport FIRE 2025-05, daté du 8 septembre 2025, et adopte 1. Le règlement proposé visant à établir une entente d'aide automatique avec la Ville d'Ottawa pour la prestation de certains services de sauvetage spécialisés dans la municipalité de Russell, et de 2, le règlement proposé visant à établir une entente d'aide automatique avec la municipalité de Castleman pour la prestation des services de sauvetage nautique et sur glace dans la municipalité de Russell. Quelque chose à rajouter, Chief? Anything to add?
Thank you, Your Worship and members of council. So we have to work on these automatic gate agreements for services that are not in our core services in our bylaw, in our establishing and regulating bylaw. So these services we cannot perform at our level. So that's why we have to come into agreements with other municipalities in order to offer those services to our residents.
Thank you, Chief. Questions, comments on this item, members of council? No? Thank you. All right. We move to item number 12, reports from an investigator or ombudsman. We have none. Item 13, notice of motions. We have none. Item 14, question period on meeting of the day. Questions must be in relation to an item on the agenda. Before asking the question, please fill your name and address on the sign-in sheet. If you wish to receive a response from a member of council or staff, please leave a phone number or email on the sheet. State only your name before asking the question, and by asking questions during the council meeting, you are consenting to be part of a live broadcast and the official public recording of the proceedings. Any questions? I didn't have to read all that, eh? It's okay, I enjoy talking in the mic, it sounds good. Item 15, resolutions. So motion that council approve all recommendations listed on the agenda under item 11, reports from departments and council committees. I need a mover and seconder to put it on the table. This is moved by Councillor Lawrence, seconded by Councillor Armstrong. I'll call questions, comments. Councillor Armstrong?
Can we have item 11D removed with the objective of having it deferred to a subsequent meeting?
Thank you. So we have a proposed amendment to remove 11D. This is moved by Councillor Armstrong, seconded by, do I have a seconder? Yes. No, yeah, it has to be on the table. On the question, okay, thank you. So seconded by Councillor Deacon. Questions and comments? Councillor Deacon?
I'd just like more clarification on the purpose of the deferral.
So it's on the table. Councillor Armstrong, purpose of the deferral.
I just want to understand the thing about being able to question the legality or constitutionality, because we have said that that cannot be done on a blanket statement, and I believe that the Municipal Act allows that for everything but parking, standing, and stopping.
Thank you, Councillor Armstrong. So we have a motion to remove 11D. We have a mover and seconder. It's on the table. I'll call for the vote to remove 11D. And it just simply, at this point, removing 11D also just means that we're voting on it separately. It doesn't mean that so removing it is in some way inconsequential. So call for the vote to remove 11D. All in favor? And passed. Thank you. All right. So a motion that council approves all recommendations listed on the agenda under item 11, reports from departments and council committee, with the exception of item 11D. And this is moved by Councillor Deacon, seconded by Councillor Lalonde. I'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Mr. Mayor, it's okay. We already had the main motion.
I was on. I always do that.
It's okay.
Well, I'll call for the vote anyways. All right. For everything but 11D. Okay, and that's carried. Thank you. All right. So 11D. We have, do I need to put it back on the table, or it's on the table? You go like that.
You have to put it on the table.
Okay, thank you. All right, so 11D, Système de sanctions administratives pécuniaires, SSAS, rapport PIC 2025-15A, que le Conseil reçoive le rapport PIC 2025-15A, daté du 8 septembre 2025, et approuve 1. Le règlement sur le nouveau processus proposé par le système de sanctions administratives et pécuniaires, et de 2. Le règlement proposé visant à approuver les politiques relatives au SSAP. And that's moved by Councillor Armstrong, seconded by Councillor put it on the table? I need a seconder to council, to put it on the table. Councillor Deacon, it's on the table. It's on the table. Questions, comments, members of council? You're asking, Councillor Deacon?
I'll just reiterate my question from earlier about the purpose of the deferral, and I appreciate Councillor Armstrong's response, but I'm not understanding exactly what the next steps are, if we're asking for more time for council to consider this, or if we're looking to provide direction to administration for another review. I just want us to be really clear on why the deferral is happening
Thank you.
or being proposed.
Thank you. Councillor Armstrong, do you care to clarify that?
Yeah, it confirmed that in our bylaw, proposed bylaw, the blanket restriction on a hearing or screening officer entertaining, let me get the wording here. Questions relating to the validity of a statute, regulation, or bylaw, or the constitutional applicability or operability of any statute, regulation, or bylaw. That restriction is in Regulation 333/07, only applicable to parking, stopping, and standing. The other section of the Municipal Act, 434.1, has no restrictions. Can we restrict that, the hearing of the constitutional applicability or validity of the bylaw or any question for other than parking, stopping, and standing? I'd like to have that clarified by administration before I vote on this bylaw.
Thank you, Councillor Armstrong. Just to clarify again, the, Madame Bordeaux, Monsieur Laplante, the bylaw itself, we're already issuing tickets specific to those items. It's just that the educator would be here as opposed to at the counties, and that's what Councillor Armstrong is concerned about, whether we have the ability to do that. Because clearly counties has been doing that, so they have the ability to do that.
Yes, but it's been going to the Provincial Offences Court,
Yeah.
and the Justice of the Peace has inherent authority
Right.
to hear those questions on whatever specific item has been charged.
Okay.
So correct, so the current bylaws are already in place. We're already issuing fines under the current bylaws.
Yeah.
This bylaw is just to revamp the way that the fines are being handled or how they're being distributed and collected. I can also add that section 6.14 and 7.14 of the AMPS bylaw does restrict the ability of the hearing and screening officers to hear any constitutional matters or legality of a bylaw, because that would fall to the courts or a legal team, whereas hearing officer, screening officers are neither.
So it's already in the bylaw?
It's already in the bylaw.
Okay. Councillor Deacon?
So my understanding, though, that about Councillor Armstrong's concern is that it's in the bylaw pertaining to very specific and very narrow offenses, and not every other offense that's included in that grid for which somebody could be put through the AMPS system.
Monsieur Laplante?
So in the bylaw that we have written, it's a blanket across
I see.
all bylaws.
So it's
For all
already
offenses.
addressed, is what
It's
you're
already
saying?
addressed. It's across the entirety of the.
Okay. Okay. Any other questions, comments on this amendment that's on the table? I will call for the vote on the amendment. Madame Camille Laflamme?
There's no amendment on the table.
Sorry, it's a request for deferral. Apologies. Yeah, request for deferral to get more clarity on this item, which Monsieur Laplante has explained to us. So do I have a seconder for a deferral? It's on the table. Do I need a seconder, or I just call the vote for the deferral? So it is on the table already, so.
So we
Just-
have
yeah,
Councillor Armstrong
yeah.
as mover. and-
No, but that was moved in, Councillor Deacon, to put it on the table.
Yep.
And so now I just call the vote to defer the item or not. correct?
So you're, yeah.
Councillor Lauren?
Is it an amendment to defer, or are we
request
just
to
straight deferring?
I think
I
it's a,
think that's different.
Madame Camille Laflamme, I think Councillor Armstrong, correct me, Councillor Armstrong, you are requesting to defer this until those questions are answered. That's correct. So it's a request to defer this item. It's on the table, we've discussed it, and now we're going to vote on whether we are asking to defer this item or not. Is that correct? Does that make sense? Everyone in agreement? So call for the vote to defer this item. All in favor?
But was it the same seconder to defer?
So it was brought on the table. The item is on the table.
Okay, so now,
Councillor Deacon, and now we're voting on it.
okay, to defer.
Okay? So all in favor to defer? I have one against deferring. Abstained? Okay, against deferring. Okay, so the item will not get deferred. And so I will read once again this item. Or do I need to read? It's still on the table, so I can just call for the vote on this item as is. Okay. So I'll call for the vote on this item as is. All in favor? Against? And passed. Thank you. Thank you for the discussion on this. Moving to item 16. So bylaws. Motion that council approve bylaws 2025-79 and 2025-80, as well as bylaws 2025-104 to 2025-109, with the exception of 2025-105, inclusively for the first, second, and third reading as listed on the agenda. And this is moved by Councillor Deacon, seconded by Councillor Lauren. I'll call for the vote.
I have 79 and 80, sorry. Sorry, may I have 79 and 80 separated for separate votes, please?
So, okay. Do I need a motion to approve for this, so to separate, or I can just separate them?
Yeah, this would be the amendment, so Councillor Armstrong would be the mover
Okay, so
to
I have
separate.
a
this.
mover, seconded by Councillor Lauren, to remove items 79, or sorry, bylaws 79 and 80 from the main motion. So, okay, so I'll read it again. Motion that council approve bylaws 2025 104 to 2025-109, with the exception of 2025-105, and for a first, second, and third reading as listed on the agenda. And this is moved by Councillor Deacon, seconded by Conseiller Lalonde. Call for the vote. All in favor of those? And passed. Thank you. Now, motion for council, that council approve bylaws 2025.
Mr. Mayor?
Wait.
So we had the main motion that was by Lisa Deacon and Jamie Lauren on the table.
Yeah,
So the amendment was from Councillor
Councillor
Armstrong
Armstrong,
and
seconded
Councillor
by
Levine.
Councillor Lauren. Yeah, yeah.
So that's the vote for the amendment to separate 79 and 80 only.
Okay, so motion that council approves separating bylaws 2025-079-080. This was moved by Councillor Deacon, moved by Councillor Armstrong, seconded by Councillor Lauren. I'll call for the vote on that motion. All in favor? And passed. Those items are separated. Motion that I'll restart. Motion that council approve bylaws 2025 104 to 2025 109, except for 2025 105, which has been removed. And so we're voting inclusively for a first, second, and third reading as listed on the agenda. And this is a call for the vote on that, right? Or do I need to put it on the table?
And 79 and 80, except.
But we've separated them, so I can read the motion differently after, no?
Well, it's now the main motion as amended that we're approving.
Okay, I'll let you read it. How's that?
Sure. So it's the bylaws 104 to 109, except 105, and except 079, and except 080.
Okay. And that is moved. I got to move him.
We already have
Okay, so-
Councillor Deacon and Councillor Lorrain.
Perfect. I'll call for the vote. All in favor? And passed. Thank you. Okay, now,
Now
Go
we
ahead.
go separately, just 79, and after, just 080.
all right. And we have to put them on the, they're still on the table, though, are they not?
No.
They're not, okay. Motion that council approve bylaws 2025-79, inclusively for first, second, and third reading as listed on the agenda. Any mover and seconder to put it on the table? Moved by Councillor Lauren, seconded by Councillor Deacon. Call for the vote. All in favor? Against? Carried. C'est beau? Motion that council approve bylaws 2025-080, inclusively for first, second, and third reading as listed on the agenda, and this is moved by Conseiller Lalonde, seconded by Councillor Deacon. Thank you, and I'll call for the vote. All in favor? Against? And passed. All right, item 17, new business reports, we have none. Item 18, other business presented by council members. We have 18A. Councillor Deacon, the floor is yours.
Thank you. It's come up a couple of times this term where community organizations, community groups have organized sort of a town hall style meeting, and there's one coming up later this month. It reminded me of the work of the administration to determine a course of action to bring and recommend to council with regards to public engagement policy and action plan. And as we're speaking about the budget public consultation tonight, I also just wanted to do a check-in and ensure that that piece will still be in consideration for the budget deliberations, that we could expect to see a report back and have that included in this year's budget deliberations.
Merci, Conseiller Deacon. Monsieur Godin, Monsieur Dagenet.
Yes, you can expect a report with an action plan and a policy in October, and it will be part of the 26 budget.
Merci bien. Merci. I don't have any other items under 18. So we've got about 8 minutes. Do you think we have time to proceed to close, and we could can we move close to the back?
I would suggest if we go to 20, if there's any,
Yes.
All right.
and if
what-
none, then we could just have a break until 7.
Okay, so why don't we do that? So we are going to move to item 19 from the budget. We'll start at 7 o'clock. 7 o'clock, given we have about 8 minutes to go. I'm going to move to item 20, announcements. So any announcements, members of council? I've got a couple of things. Councillor Armstrong, thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I've got 3 things here. Autumn in the Country Arts Festival, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday upcoming, the 12th, 13th, and 14th in Russell. And I have toured that first. It's a very, very nice festival. Finally, we have Heritage Day, which is coming up on the 13th at the Keith M. Boyd Museum. I've also attended that many times, and it's always entertaining. I love it. Please, everybody show up. And finally, Stand Our Ground is holding a community meeting at the Russell Arena on Tuesday the 16th with guest speakers Martin Strahoff and Jenna Salvatore from the Ontario Farmland Trust. Anybody who's interested, please show up. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Armstrong. Councillor Deacon?
The upcoming weekend is one of my favorite weekends of all of the entire year. I think that so many community organizations and volunteers put forth wonderful offerings to our community, and let's hope that the weather cooperates for all these things. I wanted to add that the Terry Fox Run is happening on the morning of September 14th, so this Sunday morning. It's a wonderful community event, folks getting together celebrating those who have made it through cancer and conquered cancer, remembering those who have not. And so there is a run starting from both the Embrun side of the trail as well as the Russell side of the trail, so hopefully within walking distance for many people to come out and to participate. I also wanted to add that on Saturday, September 13th, the Russell Minor Broomball Association is having a broomball trial. I don't know why I can't pronounce broomball. A broomball trial that starts at 4 p.m. at the arena there in Russell on Concession Street. And I wanted to add as well that there will be a women's march, Take Back the Night, Les Femmes Sans Peur, on September 17th at 6 p.m. Starting from Salle Camille Pichet on Blais Street. I'm sure that the mayor, I would like to take the opportunity to thank the mayor, actually, and members of administration who have led the organizing on behalf of Russell Township this year. I'm not sure if everyone realizes, but this is an annual event that happens all across the United Counties of Prescott-Russell, and it rotates from municipality to municipality. So this event is only coming to Russell Township once every 8 years or so. This gives us the opportunity to really show our support for women and gender diverse people in our community. Everybody should be able to walk the streets safely, day or night, in our community, and so just really want to encourage women, gender diverse people, as well as men to attend. And yes, men should attend and are encouraged. I was sitting with a young man recently who said, I want to show support for women in particular who experience gender-based violence, and I don't know how to do it. I don't always know where I'm supposed to show up. But I said, come to this event, because not only are you showing support and role modeling that for our children who will grow up with positive male role models, but it's also saying to the women, I am here with you and I stand with you. So again, encouraging everyone to consider joining that September 17th, 6 p.m., Salle Camille Pichet.
Thank you, Councillor Deacon. And just to add on to that, and very well said, by the way, I'm happy to report that both our MPP Stéphane Sarrazin and our MP Giovanna Mingarelli will be in attendance. They've both confirmed that they will be attending this event. And then to specify, I do believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, Monsieur Godin, the organizing of the event has been led by the clerk's office. So thank you very much to the clerk's office for making sure that we look good out there when we're doing this. And I believe that we are going to get support from police and fire on that, like for the walk.
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah, so a big thank you to...
And bylaw officer.
And bylaw, yes, of course. Yeah, I'm looking right at you. Thank you. In addition to that, I wanted to highlight this past weekend we had the Rib Fest, the first ever Rib Fest festival organized by the Paroisse Saint-Jacques. It's a fundraiser for the much needed restoration of the Embrun Saint-Jacques Paroisse, which was a great success. We had great support from bylaw, from infrastructure, I believe, as well, and from the OPP. And I think they had a total of 560 people that came. We closed down Notre Dame, and I was waiting to hear if we did get any feedback on that. And overall, it's been very positive. So it was a great success, and I believe it's going to be coming back. And that none of that would have been possible without council support. So that was important. It was also support at the county level because it's a county road, so we had to get support there. And then obviously staff had to be supportive of it as well. So it all worked out to a perfect kind of trifecta to make it work. And I can tell you that both MPP Sarrazin and MP Giovanna Mingarelli were thrilled to see this, and they loved the community spirit that was in full evidence that evening. Anything to add, Monsieur Laplante or Madame Bordeaux?
There was no...
There were no?
No concerns, no complaints.
Excellent.
Everything went well.
Fantastic. The food and music were outstanding, and it all finished at 11 o'clock, so that was great. I did, with Councillor Lauren and Councillor Deacon, we attended also the official opening of the Russell Children Ballet School here on Notre Dame, so really happy to see them moving into new digs, as we say. much bigger facility than where they were, and great to see that building on Notre Dame getting some usage. It's been sitting empty for a long time, and to have it used as a school where we can, where young people could develop skills and so on, to me is very heartwarming. So very excited to see that happen. Anything else? Anybody? Good? Well, look at that. Almost perfectly 7 o'clock. Do we want to take a 2-minute break, council members? Yeah? Okay, so let's take a pause for the cause and get everyone ready. So let's start at 7:05. Monsieur Godin, does that work for you? Yeah, okay. That way. Okay, we'll start at 7:05. Yeah, I saw those. I didn't get one. I get them from everywhere else, though. Pour ça, la façon qu'on marche pour ça, si tu peux juste me rappeler comment on fait ça. Ouais, c'est vraiment ça. Quand ils viennent en avance, ils doivent et puis si on en a où ce que ils ne sont pas présents, est-ce que je dois y aller quand même? Mais on n'a pas de discussion avec le conseil, c'est vraiment juste on n'a pas de questions, parce qu'on fait juste recevoir l'information. Donc moi, je vais le dire à tout le monde en commençant que ça, c'est vraiment recevoir l'information. Il n'y aura pas de discussion comme telle. On va laisser comme des Alors, on est à l'item 19, Public Consultation Hearing, so 2025 budget public consultations starting now. So I've got a list here. I think every member of council has this list as well. And so I'm going to go through the list. And if I look at the list, we have 11 items, some subsections in some of the items. And I'll go one at a time, and I'll speak to who submitted the item and allow the person, if they're here with us, to come up and present. I'd like to keep the presentations to no more than 5 minutes. We are presenting this to council at this point. We're not going to have discussions, council members, at this stage. Feel free to take notes if there are any clarifying questions that you're looking to have answered. As the person is here, feel free to ask for that question. But I'd rather us not having discussion on validity of the request, because that'll happen through our individual budget pieces afterwards. Does that make sense for everyone? That's good? Okay, thank you very much. So we're going to start first with Mr. Brian Young. Are you in the room, Mr. Young? No? Okay. So we'll start with the request, so we'll read it out for public. So Brian Young, accessibility ramp to access 225 Industrial Street was item 1. Item 2, I suggest that a sidewalk along Notre Dame, specifically from the traffic circle to Tim Hortons, be upgraded to include tactile walking surface indicators, and that the sidewalk surface be made flush with the roadway at all crossings to ensure full accessibility. And that's a request going to infrastructure. Item number 3 by Claudette McCormick. Madame McCormick, please come on up. Bonsoir. Est-ce que le petit bouton vert est allumé? Oui.
Okay, it's allumé.
Merci.
Okay, I'd like to present, so if we, for exercise equipment at Keith Boyd Park. The park is so huge and there's so many activities going on there, but I just feel that the young ones, the 13, the adults, seniors are just bored, especially when they bring their kids to play in the park. There's nothing else for them to do, so we really feel that exercise equipment would be very good for them for like physical health, mental health, community impact. We'd be looking for cardio machines, strength training machines, and flexibility and balance machine. It's a good way to get to the park because you can bike from Embrun to Russell. People can just stop on their way, do a 5-10 minute cardio, continue on their way. It was really funny on Saturday. I was biking with my husband and we're coming back and there was a couple there and the mother was pushing the child on the swing and the father was on the zip line because there was nothing else to do. So we're just trying to have something that could keep adults and 13 years old and seniors, but, you know, to do some cardio.
Excellent, thank you. I have used that zip line too myself, but I have a video of that. I think we have an estimate here of up to 60,000. That's from Madame Guittard, c'est ça? Oui. And then just a clarification, you're looking for like a circuit, is that?
I thought it'd be nice not to all have it, you know, on one cement slab. I think it'd be good to have a circuit and keep it separate because we could actually just go around the, you know, the park.
Have you seen the ones we have at the Parc Jonathan Pitre?
Yes, I have.
Is that something like that is what you're?
We wanted something that is more challenging.
Okay.
You know, and especially for the 13-year-olds, you know, more flexibility, push-up bars, and that type of equipment.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Merci beaucoup. Councilor Lauren?
Yeah, so this came to the Parks and Rec Committee at the last meeting, and there was a great presentation done, and I think there was also talk of the group trying to partner with some other organizations to raise some funds, and so it wouldn't be just a singular request from them. And yeah, so it could be something, it'd be an interesting discussion during the budget session.
Thank you, Councilor Lauren. Item 4A, Monsieur Brisson, on n'est pas ici. New flooring on the pickleball court at the Dome, that's in Parks and Recreation. Madame Guittard, it's not to discuss it, but, because I'm sure you've heard it a few times, but I think the third court there is got some challenges, and so I think that request has been heard by many of the council members, and are you able to fix it? You don't have to answer that right now. I don't want to put you on the
Okay.
spot. But that is something that I think council has heard repeatedly from many residents. So it'd be cool to have a solution. Merci. All right. Continuing to item 4B by Monsieur André Brisson as well, to replace the bridge on Saint-Pierre Road between Hybrid and Route 300 infrastructure. Anything to add on that, Monsieur Bourgon? No? No? Okay. Merci. Item 4C, infrastructure again, repave Centenaire Street between Saint-Jean-Baptiste and Saint-Augustin. That's good. Is that road on the plan, Monsieur Bourgon?
Yes, it is.
It is, okay, perfect. All right. Council members, for new council members, there is a paving plan with a timeline on it that's available. If you haven't seen it lately, or if you don't have a copy, feel free to ask Monsieur Bourgon, and we can get that sent to you as well. Item number 5. Item number 5, Monsieur Denis Labrèche. Oui, s'il vous plaît, avancez-vous.
Merci beaucoup pour l'invitation. Thank you for the invitation. J'aimerais premièrement vous donner un bref historique un peu de notre organisation qui est CGRO Radio, CGRO Radio that broadcasts here in Embrun in Russell Municipality. We are a low-power bilingual radio station, nonprofit, that promotes local and regional events, provides important information and news to residents and in public in the southeast rural Ottawa, the Russell Municipality, the Casman Municipality, and surrounding areas. CGRO is licensed by the CRTC to play a variety of music, rock, country, French country, pop, alternative music, and more. It's available here in Embrun at 107.7, also in Carlsbad Springs, in the village of Bars, Castleman, Sarsfield on 107.9, and also online. So we broadcast on cgroradio.com, and also on a bunch of other streaming applications such as Apple Music, iHeartRadio, Radio Player Canada, and on any phone, basically on the internet. So anybody can get us through online, through a lot of application. We are a bilingual licensed station, as I mentioned, that ensures through its mandate the promotion of linguistic duality within the communities we serve. In order to serve all the people in its community, CGRO Radio FM offers listeners a diversified programming. Our main goal of our station is to keep community informed with local and also regional news, and is not necessarily broadcast on commercial radio stations. The entire radio station team and our volunteers work hard to make our programming one that reflects the cultural, the economic, political, and also educational and social portrait of our region. As a nonprofit organization, CGRO Radio's annual revenue is all made up of various grants, some revenues from radio advertisements, and also our community partners. CGRO Radio is known as CGRO FM is known as CGRO Radio and was registered as a nonprofit organization in May 2021. But the station first started in operation in 2017 with one transmitter based in Carlsbad Springs. Pourquoi CGRO Radio? Donc, avec la disparition des absences des médias, comme j'avais mentionné il y a plusieurs années dans notre secteur, et de nombreux petits journaux fermant leurs portes ces dernières années, nous trouvions qu'il est important d'avoir une voix pour la communauté, une source de nouvelles locales et de l'information pour laquelle nous avons créé la radio et une voix pour la communauté. Nous sommes une petite radio, nous avons une petite équipe, mais nous trouvons que nous desservons la communauté très bien avec les ressources qu'on a en ce moment. Les médias sociaux, comme vous savez, ne sont pas toujours des sources crédibles pour des nouvelles. Comme l'exemple qu'on a eu souvent aux États-Unis, les médias sociaux jouent des tours souvent aux gens et aux résidents. Donc, nos informations sont plus ou moins basées sur des faits et on utilise l'information crédible qu'on confirme avec la communauté. Le 9 novembre 2020, CGRO Radio a obtenu l'autorisation d'installer un transmetteur à Embrun, en Ontario, ici à Russell. Et CGRO Radio est disponible depuis le mois de juin 2021 à la fréquence 107,7 dans la municipalité de Russell, ici à Embrun. Notre programmation est composée d'émissions thématiques, ce qui signifie qu'à divers moments de la journée, nous jouons différentes sortes de musique et d'émissions. Nous offrons des bulletins de nouvelles en français et aussi en anglais pour partager les nouvelles importantes aux 3 secteurs que nous desservons, soit l'Est rural d'Ottawa, la municipalité de Russell et la municipalité de Castleman. Nous offrons aussi des informations aux résidents de Clarence-Rocklin, car plusieurs nous écoutent en ligne dans ce secteur. As indicated, we are financed by various funding requests, grants, and also some ads that play on our station. With this funding, we finance our operations, such as our insurance coverage, our IT costs, music rights, our website, our news production, equipment purchase and acquisition, and also some repairs, as you know, and other administration costs that we have throughout the year. Other than our 2 news reporters, everyone else, including myself, are all volunteers and community producers. To help maintain our operations, we are seeking the same amount as previous years, a $3,000 grant that will be used to finance our radio operation throughout the year. Merci en avance pour votre temps. I'd like just to put a little note here. I completely understand the importance of what you're being involved locally and all the work that you do on council. I myself, I'm an elected representative. Je suis un des conseillers scolaires du CPO, représentant le secteur Osgood, juste à l'ouest ici de la municipalité de Russell. Notre conseil, le CPO, a une école ici à Embrun, l'école élémentaire publique de la rivière Castor, et nous en sommes très fiers. And as you know, we're getting also a new French school in Russell that's going to be built very soon. That's going to serve the Russell community very soon with a new school en français. Donc, merci beaucoup.
Merci beaucoup, M. Labrèche. Oui, on est très excités aux nouvelles de cette école-là. Alors, juste pour reconfirmer, c'est quoi la grandeur de l'équipe de volontaires, juste pour confirmer? Vous êtes combien de volontaires qui...
Comme tel, on est à peu près une douzaine environ de personnes.
Okay.
Là-dessus, il y a 2 personnes qui ont, au point de vue des finances, qu'on paye au point de vue des nouvelles.
Oui.
Où on dédie notre budget au point de vue des nouvelles, parce qu'on est mandaté aussi par le CRTC
Okay.
d'avoir de l'information communautaire et locale. Donc, vraiment, tout tourne autour des nouvelles au point de vue de la production pour pour aussi respecter notre mandat du CRTC.
Formidable. Merci beaucoup.
Une douzaine. Mais là-dessus, il y a une équipe d'environ peut-être jusqu'à une vingtaine qui produit des émissions qui sont de différents secteurs. Là. On a
Okay.
de Carsbad, on essaie d'encourager. Ça, c'est une chose que j'essaie d'encourager, c'est faire du recrutement. Donc, quand je vais être à la retraite, là, je vais aller voir, je vais aller cogner aux portes.
Formidable. Génial. Merci beaucoup, M. Labrèche. OK, alors on tombe au 6A. This should be a short one, eh? Il me regarde. Monsieur Marion, c'est vous. Alors, 6A, Annual Operating Costs for the Marionville Citizens Committee. So to ensure a smooth operation of the committee for the year 2026, a sum of $1,000 is requested compared to the $500 grant covered over the past 2 years. The reason requesting $1,000 again is to help cover insurance premiums for the Citizens Committee, close to $1,000 annually, and operating costs, approximately $500 per year for the website itself. Alors, Monsieur Marion, bienvenue. La parole est à vous.
Merci beaucoup. Merci pour donner l'opportunité pour vous présenter les besoins de la communauté de Marionville. Donc, au-delà de ce que M. le maire a mentionné, au niveau des subventions communautaires, on retrouve principalement les mêmes d'année en année. Je vais juste les mentionner très rapidement. Le carnaval de Marionville, le brunch de la cabane à sucre, une épichette de bédaine ou un barbecue communautaire, le souper de Noël communautaire. Ça, c'est 1 000 $ qu'on demande, plus l'utilisation, disons, de la salle communautaire sans frais. Ensuite, comme les années passées, nous avons des réunions régulières, les comités, donc utiliser la salle pour cette fin-là. Pour la fête Rencontrez-moi sur la rue principale, on travaille en partenariat avec la communauté de North Dundas, la ville d'Ottawa, Et cette année, on projette une augmentation des frais de notre orchestre, le Green Martini, là. C'est une orchestre de 8 membres. Cette année, il est à 10. Donc, au lieu de 1 000 on m'a mentionné peut-être 1 200 qui serait une augmentation de 100 pour la municipalité. L'autre 50 est défrayé par la municipalité de North Dundas et le comité de citoyens défraie les coûts pour le maquillage des enfants et tout ça. Donc, par la suite, les dépenses opérationnelles continuent. C'est seulement, disons, un survol de ce que un bon tremplin pour un rappel, disons, des investissements qui sont requis. On avait parlé l'année dernière le besoin de peut-être remplacer les lumières de la salle, de nouveaux rideaux. Plusieurs tuiles au plafond nécessitent une attention. Ensuite, j'ai eu l'occasion de regarder les infrastructures avec M. le maire au cours de 2 occasions, qui a pris des photos, qui a des investissements, disons, qui seraient importants. C'est seulement, disons, un rappel ici. La patinoire, la surface et les bandes sont en piètre état, là, qui méritent une cure de rajeunissement en cours de route. On avait demandé l'ajout de paniers de basketball, puis un terrain de pickleball l'année dernière. Jeu de pétanque, c'est juste le maintien, disons, à chaque année, la coupe de branche, un remplacement de bancs, un gazebo, le maintien du pavé uni. On a fait des grands, j'ai dit on, mais la municipalité, des investissements au niveau de l'édifice de l'ancien restaurant, donc peut-être l'opportunité de finaliser l'intérieur au cours de cette année. Ensuite, la dernière demande, on a eu une réunion spéciale avec M. le maire et le maire de North Dundas et la nouvelle conseillère pour regarder comment ce projet-là pourrait se faire en coopération avec les 3 autres composantes, fait que Marionville est unique. Je dois dire que ça s'est très bien déroulé. Je pense qu'on a une entente de principe là, pour un appui, mais il y a des étapes additionnelles. Moi, je travaille de très près avec les 3 composantes gouvernementales, là. Puis, je travaille aussi avec Shane Signs pour un genre de design qu'on pourrait utiliser. Le besoin, c'est pour remplacer le babillard actuel qui date depuis 1980. C'est un enjeu de sécurité pour les employés de la municipalité lorsqu'on fait appel pour un changement. C'est la nouvelle vague. Un prix approximatif qu'on me donne, j'ai un estimé plus précis, c'est de 35 000 à peu près. La communauté serait prête également, disons, à fournir des argents pour appuyer cet exercice-là. Be pleased if you have any questions, concerns, clarifications.
J'aurais 2 points à soulever, Monsieur Marion. Ça serait, premièrement, la clarification pour le terrain de pickleball que vous demandez, c'est vraiment dans le terrain, dans où il y a la patinoire déjà, du moment que le terrain, l'asphalte pourrait le faire, right?
On l'a essayé il y a 2 ans. Ça n'a pas fonctionné vraiment à cause de
L'asphalte comme tel, là.
L'asphalte comme tel. Je regardais ça, disons, est-ce qu'il y aurait une autre possibilité? Où est-ce qu'on a un bel asphalte? C'est dans le terrain de stationnement. Mais là, ça a ses propres défis, disons, maintenant.
Absolument. On reconnaît certainement, je pense que le Conseil reconnaît certainement la valeur du pickleball. Et si vous n'avez pas eu la chance, membre du Conseil, je vous encourage d'aller voir où est-ce qu'il y a la surface de glace durant l'hiver. Là. Ça a besoin un petit peu de travail. Je sais qu'il y a beaucoup de travail qui s'est fait faire. But the ground there, I think there is some work that needs to be done. Also, just for information for members of council, the babillard électronique, the sign at the community center is a bit of a different piece for us. We do have signage here outside our arenas and so on. We have the signboards there. But in Marionville, because it's really 3 municipalities that work together, it's kind of interesting how that would kind of work. But we did have an initial meeting with the 3 members and seeing if we can come to an agreement where we can split those costs, have some sort of practical sign, and and we would agree that anything that goes on that sign would have to benefit the members of Marionville, and has to be cross-municipal kind of messaging. The other aspect to it, just so you know, is that I do believe that I can probably access some funds through the county's community fund for that, so that's more than likely where I'm going to be asking to get that money, so just to clarify that.
I did share, Mr. Mayor, the proposal, of the sign so that council members, can benefit as to what the sign could possibly look like.
Yeah, it would have to meet all our requirements here, and that's before we move there, I wanted to make sure that we have an agreement for the financial piece, and that the quotes meet all our requirements here in terms of sourcing and stuff like that. So that'd be important to do first, but we're excited to move something forward, and if we can do it collaboratively with all the three partners there, I think that would be the perfect recipe. So thank you very much for your time. Toujours apprécié, Monsieur Marion.
OK, merci beaucoup pour votre appui. Thank you.
Merci. OK, on passe à Mélanie Millette. Êtes-vous présente? Non. Paving Bordeaux Crescent, infrastructure. Calculation made after adoption of 25 budget. So there was a 328, 747 paving cost and storms of about 721,000. It was not included in the 25 budget. From the 25 discussion, storm sewer needs to be repaired. So that's a requirement for this year, Monsieur Bogon? Is that what you're saying, or?
I guess at this time I can say we'll have further discussion
Okay.
in October.
Merci. Okay, item 8, Kim Smith. Kim present. Resurfacing or paving of Groves Road from Route 500 to Marionville Road. That's infrastructure. Item number 9, always a pleasure to have Mr. Smurl here from Dundas Manor. Funding request for the construction of the new Dundas. And so, Mr. Smurl, always a pleasure. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and Mr. Mayor, councilors, staff, and guests. I'm pleased to be here to say a few words, and I've sent in and by the way, with me is Cindy Peters, who is the executive director of, right here, executive director
Snuck up on you.
of the foundation. And by the way, in Winchester, there are 3 foundations. There are 3 corporations: the foundation, the hospital, and the manor. So what we're looking at, and you've seen me before here because I have made the request before, but I guess I didn't do it well enough because I didn't get support before, so I'm trying to do it a lot better this time. Summarizing the project, the old building is around 45 years old, and they'll be replaced with a new one that is going to be up to date and ready for the future and for future years. It's expanding from 98 beds to 128. And I might say that when this started about 4 or 5 years ago, the ministry in its wisdom said, we're doing pods of 32 now, so you need to lose 2 beds. And we appealed to the minister that we might as well get another 30 beds. And they said, well, all right, we'll give you another 30 beds. And that was $1.5 million because a bed's license was $50,000. So we actually got that free from the ministry at that time. So we're going to 128 beds. There'll be 4 pods of 32 in each one. The project is a $63 million project and a $45 million that's paid by the ministry. And of course, the ministry usually pays so much months per bed for 25 years. And this year they surprised us because at the start they actually sent us a $10 million check of seed money to get going, which was really helpful and really positive. The $45 million from the ministry, our responsibility was to raise $18 million. And our fundraising committee got busy. We've raised 14.6 so far. So we're still a little bit from being the total distance along. And I just thought I would give you the outlook of who attends Dundas Manor. And you know that every municipality has to support a long-term care home. And you have one to the east, and SD&G has one in Cornwall. Well, we went to ask SD&G County's Council for dollars, and we requested $3 million with $100,000 forever, And they said, no, we'll give you 4 million, and they did. We got $500,000 from North Dundas and $500,000 from South Dundas, and that made sense because 80% of our population comes from North and South Dundas. But 20% of our population comes from the 4 municipalities around us. And those municipalities are North Grenville, Ottawa, Russell, and North Stormont. So I mentioned we asked North and South Dundas, each gave us $500,000. And we went to North Stormont, and they gave us 100,000. We went to North Grenville, and they gave us 100,000. And we're asking, I'm meeting with Ottawa in the near future again, and we're meeting with you tonight to ask if you might consider the 100,000 as well. And by the way, well, I was going to mention that over the past 5 years or so, the Manor's been home to about 40 of your residents from Russell County. And the Manor right now provides work for about 150 people, and several of them are from Russell, and a couple of them are here with us tonight that actually work at the Manor and have for some years. When the new Manor is completed, and by the way, about 150 people work at the Manor. When the new Manor is completed, it will be nearly 200 workers in the area. I mentioned that what North Dundas supports, and I mentioned what the dollars are. We're here tonight requesting that you please consider, respectively, our request for $100,000 to help finish building this Manor. And it's currently 60% complete, and it'll be ready for people to move in next September. So we're moving along very rapidly, and we're hoping to keep going. So please consider our request positively, assist us as fully as possible. We're here to answer any questions, and what did I miss, Cindy?
Just with the pledges, many of the other municipalities, they did a pledge over 5 years. So we are doing pledges for 5 or 10 years, whatever works for the municipality to make it easier. Yeah, we have lots of support from the residents of Russell and Embrun, Kin Club, Catch the Ace. There's many residents that do community events for us, so we are hoping to continue that collaboration and just get us that much closer to our goal.
Okay, any questions?
Yeah, so just clarification, Mr. Small. So you've raised 14.6 million out of the 18 you need.
Yes.
And with the budget amounts that have been promised to you already from some of the municipalities, that's included in this 14.6? Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay.
The amounts I mentioned are there, plus residents and businesses in the area have donated already over 9 million.
Okay.
So that's where the 14.6 comes from.
And so, Cindy, just to confirm, if I understand correctly, what you're saying is if Russell Township decided to give 100,000, we can do it over 5 years, 20,000 a year.
Absolutely,
Okay.
sir.
All right. Okay. All right. Thank you very much. Always a pleasure, and look forward to seeing where our deliberations take us.
And thank you for the opportunity. And I think you mentioned you don't have a copy of this. Could I give you this copy? And we'll send you other copies.
Thank you, Mr. Smell. Thank you, Cindy. All right. Moving along to item number 10. Monsieur André Brisson, a request for a shuttle system for the recreation complex. Currently, young people walk to the arena, but with this new complex further away, this will no longer be possible. This system could also be used during the day for seniors. Yeah, I figured something would be like that. I know that there are discussions pertaining to community transportation. I know I have had meetings with another mayor on this issue, and so it is being talked about. And so, thank you. Item 11. Denise and Terry Cloutier, êtes-vous présent? Are you here? No? Okay, and that's repaving of Route 500 between St. Joseph and St. Albert, and that's going for infrastructure. You have a question or comment?
Just a question. So this is for Monsieur Bogon, I guess. Is that the same request that was made last week by Monsieur Dicar for the same stretch of road?
Yeah, true, Mr. Murray. So yes, exactly. It's the same segment of road.
Okay. Just wanted to make sure that it was recognized.
Yes.
Otherwise, I'd be asking that.
Yeah. So when we come to budget deliberations, we'll have these notes with us, and so the more people ask for those, they should be all listed on there, right? Am I missing any? Do I have everything completed? Madame?
Yes, but you can request from the public.
Yeah.
And if they do, we have a form for them to fill
Yeah.
out.
Any other requests from members attending tonight? If you would like to address council with any requests for our budget discussions.
Yeah, I'd just like to request that with the huge investment we're making in the Castor and ED intersection to improve pedestrian safety, I'd love to see some of the other stuff in the transportation master plan for that area that connects to that intersection to be prioritized. It would be great to have the sidewalk extended from Eldon through to that intersection, as well as, I don't think it's a sidewalk in a transportation master plan, but there's something connecting the ED Castor intersection to the rec trail, as well as across the river to the residents from like the Church Street area. If we're gonna be investing in that area, it makes sense, I think, to finish those projects before we move on to everything else, so that we can have safe pedestrian access to the rec trail and that whole area.
Thank you, Monsieur Bourgon. Just to clarify, for the access from that ED Castor, est-ce qu'il y a des plans pour aller jusqu'à la trail, un genre de pedestrian section?
Oui, c'est identifié dans le master plan, so those segments that was just mentioned are identified in our transportation master plan.
Okay, perfect, but without a timeline at this point? Or there was a timeline given
There's
in that, yeah.
timelines identified on master plans, but depending on feasibility or costs can be moved.
That's right, okay.
Or at a discretion of council ultimately.
Merci, merci. Thank you, Julian.
Mr. Mayor, can you say the name of the person, just for the public?
Oh, sorry, Julian, last name Julian? Hunt. Thank you. Any other one wants to come and address? Just please state your name and write down the information on that little piece of paper. Merci.
Oui, je me nomme Marc Patnaud. Je fais partie de la ferme Gillette en Embrun. C'est beau de faire des budgets, mais il y a des budgets où il y a des promesses qui sont faites, puis il n'y a rien qui se passe. Je me demande s'il faut faire la demande d'un budget, dans le budget, pour que ça se fasse. Ça fait 2 ans qu'on attend pour faire nettoyer un fossé sur la route 500, entre le chemin Sainte-Catherine et le chemin Grove. Ils nous avaient promis ça 2 ans passés, qu'ils étaient pour le faire. On a été les revoir encore ce printemps. Ils ont dit qu'ils étaient pour le faire. Je ne sais pas quand est-ce qu'ils vont le faire, mais j'aimerais bien avoir une réponse s'ils vont le faire, oui ou non, ou il faut l'introduire dans le budget.
Merci, M. Patnaud. M. Bourgon, commentaire là-dessus. Est-ce que c'est sur les plans pour cette année?
Oui, l'administration a déjà parlé avec M. Patnaud, c'est dans les plans.
OK, fait que ça arrive, c'est pas quelque chose qui va aller sur le budget, c'est ça que vous me dites?
Exactement.
OK.
On va savoir une idée quand est-ce que vous allez venir?
Ben ça va être, s'ils vous ont parlé, je pense que c'est déjà déterminé, mais ce qu'on fait en ce moment, c'est vraiment pour le budget. Alors, ils vous disent que oui, puis je vous encourage peut-être de communiquer avec le conseil, membre du conseil, ou avec le département. S'ils vous ont déjà donné l'information, on peut essayer d'avoir un peu plus, mais juste pour ce soir, c'est pour ça.
C'est bien. Merci beaucoup.
Merci beaucoup. Hein, bonne soirée. Anybody else wants to come up for the budget, for the 2026 budget? Any other comments? Seeing, hearing none? Last call? All right. Merci tout le monde. Any questions or comments as a result of this, members of council at this stage? Do you need any clarifications or anything? Thank you. All right, so we move to item 21, strategic discussion. We have none. Item 22, closed session. So we will be going into closed session pursuant to section 2392, 3, and 3.1 of the Municipal Act 2001, SO 2001, Chapter 25. So a motion to move into closed session at the hour of 7:41 PM to address the matters pertaining to Section 239 of the Municipal Act 2001, SO 2001, Chapter 25, to consider matters relating to 1, disposal of land, La Madeleine Street, Report CS 2025-12, S2C, a proposed or pending acquisition of disposition of land by the municipality or local board. 2, disposal of land, Marionville Road, Report CS 2025-13, and S2C, again, a proposed pending acquisition or disposition of land by the municipality or local board. And 3, to review closed session minutes of the regular council meeting dated August 25, 2025. And then so that's the motion. That's moved by Councillor Deacon, seconded by Councillor Armstrong. Call for the vote to go into closed session. All in favor and pass. Thank you, council members. We are now moving to closed session. Councillor Lauren?
I just think it's important maybe just to give a next steps from the request, right? So there's a budget session on, if you don't mind, I can just keep going, 23rd, 24th?
Yeah, so we should have put that before when we asked council if you had any points, but go ahead, Councillor Lauren.
Well, just for
that's fair.
the process, right? So the request will now come to council on the 23rd and 24th of October.
Yeah.
Mr. Gooding, just a reminder, are they broadcast, those sessions? So you can watch them as well or attend in person. They're during the day, usually between 9 and 5, may go a little longer. But you can see exactly what's going on and how council discusses each one of the department's budgets, as well as all the capital requests, including the ones tonight that came forward and any additional ones that come to us. So that's, in terms of next steps, that's where.
Thank you, I appreciate that, Councillor Lauren. So that'll be happening 23rd, 24th of October. Will be open sessions, so members of the public could participate. They're really exciting and riveting. And I look forward to them every year. Anything else to add, members of council? Okay, so we did vote for a closed session meeting. Thank you very much.